Welcome to Tales from the Abyss, where we dive deep into the darkest corners of human imagination and uncover the most chilling, spine-tingling stories from the unknown. If you're a fan of horror and suspense, you're in the right place. Sit back, turn off the lights, and prepare to be haunted as we bring you another terrifying tale that will keep you awake at night. The Cursed Well. No one dared approach it, for those who heard her cry were marked for death. The villagers had grown accustomed to avoiding the well and warned outsiders to stay away. But their warnings only served to intrigue Akshay, a journalist from the city. Known for his obsession with uncovering supernatural phenomena, Akshay decided this legend would make for the perfect story to catapult his career to fame. Ignoring the villagers' frightened pleas, he ventured into the heart of the forest, determined to uncover the truth behind the eerie legend of the Blood Well. Akshay reached the well at the stroke of midnight, under a pale full moon. The air was still, unnaturally quiet, as though the forest itself was holding its breath. The well was ancient, its stone walls covered in moss and strange, unfamiliar markings. Akshay set up his camera, muttering to himself about superstition. At first he heard nothing but the sound of his own breathing and the distant rustle of leaves. But as he leaned over the edge, peering into its abyss, a faint, haunting cry reached his ears. It was a woman's voice, trembling with sorrow and rage. Akshay's heart raced, but he dismissed it as the wind playing tricks. He clicked a few photographs and prepared to leave, but suddenly the cry grew louder, transforming into a guttural laugh that chilled him to his core. But as he leaned over the edge, Polsey turned upon a laugh and then performed a spin sweep turn and laugh to see his heart raced, but he dared not turn back. Voice of a man whispering in his ear. The man had always felt bad for him. Then out of nowhere, he felt sharp, searing pain on his arms, as though invisible claws were raking his skin. Terrified, Akshay stumbled back to the village, his arms bleeding from deep claw marks. The villagers gasped in horror when they saw him. "You've been marked," an elder whispered, his voice trembling. Akshay brushed off their warnings, convinced he could rationalize what had happened. But as the days passed, his confidence waned. He began to notice strange occurrences. His reflection in mirrors grew distorted, showing the pale, gaunt version of himself. He heard whispers in his ears, even when he was alone, and his dreams were haunted by a woman with glowing red eyes and a twisted smile. Each night, she appeared to him, standing at the foot of his bed, her voice dripping with malice as she called his name. Akshay grew paranoid and weak, his health deteriorating rapidly. The once bright journalist now looked like a shadow of his former self. The villagers, desperate to save him, decided to perform an ancient ritual to break the curse. The villagers gathered at the temple at dawn, carrying Akshay's trembling body. The elder priest prepared for the ritual, chanting prayers in a language long forgotten. A circle of salt was drawn around Akshay, and incense filled the air. The villagers watched in tense silence as the priest began the ceremony. But as the prayers grew louder, so did the whispers. Akshay's body convulsed violently, and his screams echoed through the temple. The air turned heavy, and a chilling presence filled the room. The villagers saw her Hankeldar, the vampiric spirit from the well. Her eyes burned like embers, and her smile was grotesque. "He belongs to me," she hissed, her voice reverberating with unearthly power. The priest faltered, and the ritual collapsed into chaos. The spirit laughed as the villagers fled in terror. When the dust settled, Akshay was gone. All that remained was his notebook, lying open on the temple floor, filled with sketches of the vampiric woman in cryptic words repeating, "The well calls." The villagers sealed the well, hoping to bury the curse forever. But the legend of the blood well persisted. Those brave or foolish enough to approach the forest claimed they could still hear Akshay's desperate cries echoing in the dead of night. Over time, the village of Verkot faded from memory, its people abandoning it out of fear. Yet the well remained, hidden deep within the forest, waiting for its next victim. Travelers and thrill seekers who dared to venture near would find themselves inexplicably drawn to its cursed depths. The story begins with the protagonist reflecting on a seemingly ordinary childhood, only to uncover deeply unsettling truths hidden within. As a child, he participated in a school project where students sent messages in balloons, hoping to get responses from strangers. Weeks later, he received a letter from someone, claiming to have found his balloon. Excited, he shared the letter with his mother, who dismissed it with an unusual sense of urgency. Over time, the letters continued to arrive, often containing odd details about the boy's life, including places he frequently visited. What started as a school experiment slowly turned into a chilling narrative of an unknown person observing him. His mother's growing unease hinted at something more sinister. But as a young boy, he couldn't comprehend the gravity of the situation. Years later, the protagonist begins piecing together memories that seemed inconsequential at the time, but now feel ominous. He recalls moments when he felt watched, like the times he heard rustling in the woods near his house, or found strange objects like photographs of himself left in the yard. These fragments come together when he discovers a hidden box of Polaroid pictures in the attic, each one capturing candid moments of his childhood. Some were taken in places he didn't even remember visiting. The realization hits hard. Someone had been following him for years. As he digs deeper, he begins questioning his own memories. Did he really have a safe childhood? Or had his family been hiding something from him all along? The protagonist eventually learns the truth about his mysterious pen pal through a series of horrifying revelations. The letters were only the beginning. They were the breadcrumbs left by a disturbed individual obsessed with him. This person had gone to extreme lengths to insert themselves into his life. The protagonist discovers that this stranger had been living nearby for years, watching his every move, and had even broken into his home on several occasions. The chilling realization comes when he uncovers a journal kept by the stalker, detailing their twisted thoughts and plans. The journal reveals that the stalker viewed their relationship as something more profound, almost familial, and had been waiting for the perfect moment to reveal themselves fully. As the protagonist delves deeper, he realizes the danger isn't just in the past, it's very much present. The stalker begins leaving new notes and photos, signaling that they are still watching. In a nerve-wracking sequence, the protagonist confronts the stalker, only to find that their obsession has grown more deranged over the years. The protagonist leads to a harrowing escape, with the protagonist narrowly avoiding capture. In the end, he manages to expose the stalker to the authorities, but the psychological scars remain. The story closes with the protagonist reflecting on how a seemingly innocent childhood event turned into a lifelong nightmare, leaving readers questioning the boundaries of safety and trust in their own lives. Tara, a young artist looking for inspiration, moves into an aging apartment building nestled in the heart of the city. Its halls are dimly lit with peeling wallpaper and a sense of abandonment clinging to the air. On her first day, the landlord, an elderly man with hollow eyes and trembling hands, gives her an unusual warning. Whatever you do, don't open the door at the end of the hallway on the 4th floor. There's no room there. He doesn't elaborate, but his tone makes it clear he's serious. Intrigued yet unsettled, Sarah brushes it off as superstition. Over the next few nights, however, she begins hearing faint whispers coming from the hallway, especially near the forbidden door. The whispers seem to call her name, soft and beckoning. When she inspects the door, she notices it has no knob, only a faint symbol carved into its surface. A strange eye with a faint symbol carved into its surface. A strange eye with a faint symbol. Curiosity consumes her. Why would someone warn her about a door that leads nowhere? Sarah's dreams grow increasingly strange. She dreams of the door every night, but in her dream, it has a gleaming golden handle. A voice whispers in the darkness. The truth lies beyond. She wakes up, drenched in sweat, her mind racing. Soon, the whispers grow louder, almost impossible to ignore. Unable to resist her curiosity, Sarah decides to investigate. One stormy night, she ventures into the hallway. Her heart pounds as she approaches the door. To her astonishment, the once knobless door now has a rusted handle. Summoning her courage, she twists the handle and steps inside. The room beyond is unlike anything she's ever seen. The walls are not made of brick or plaster. They pulse and writhe as though alive, resembling some sort of human being. It's a lovely passion, flex and prime for the right word. No sentence starts with and the whole letter comes with the key. On the far wall hangs an ornate mirror, its surface rippling like liquid. Instead of her reflection, the mirror shows terrified faces trapped behind the glass. They look at her, their mouths open in silent screams. One of the faces, a pale woman with hollow eyes, whispers faintly, "Help us!" The mirror suddenly emits a cold gust of wind, pulling Sarah closer. Before she can resist, she's yanked into the mirror world with a deafening roar. Sarah wakes up in her apartment, but something feels wrong. The furniture is the same, yet decayed and covered in dust. The colors are muted, and the air is thick and heavy. Outside the window, the city skyline is shrouded in darkness, with no signs of life. As she moves through the apartment, she notices scratch marks on the walls, spelling out a single chilling message: "Get out." Sarah tries to leave, but every door she opens leads her back to the same room. The whispers return, louder and more insistent. "Join us." Panic sets in as she realizes she's not alone. Desperate. Sarah finds herself back in front of the mirror. She smashes it with a heavy object, hoping to break free. Instead of shattering, the shards float midair, reforming into a swirling, glowing portal. With no other choice, she steps through, praying it will take her back to reality. She finds herself in the hallway, breathing heavily. Relieved, she rushes toward her apartment, eager to escape the nightmare. But something is off. As she passes a window, she catches a glimpse of her reflection. It's not her. The reflection is the landlord, grinning wickedly. Sarah turns around and freezes. Standing at the other end of the hallway is her doppelganger, holding her apartment keys. The doppelganger whispers, "Man, this programming changed Oates. That'll show it to me and I would be able to give it permission to use." "The room has you now, Sarah," she says. She touches her face and realizes she's now on the other side of the mirror, trapped and powerless as her reflection walks away, living her life as if nothing happened. Months later, a young man moves into the same apartment and he's greeted by the same elderly landlord who gives him the same warning. Don't open the door at the end of the hallway on the 4th floor. There's no room there. The young man laughs it off, thinking it's just a spookly old man's tale. Sarah watches helplessly from behind the mirror, her hands pressed against the glass. She screams silently, her pleas unheard. The new tenant explores the building one night, drawn by whispers coming from the hallway. He approaches the door at the end, now adorned with a faint golden handle. Sarah pounds against the glass, trying to warn him, but it's no use. The tenant turns the handle and steps inside. The screen fades to black as the sound of his scream echoes through the empty hallway. The story ends with Sarah still trapped in the mirror, her face blending into the growing sea of tormented souls.